Hey, it's Maggie. I'm here in my home studio, and this is going to be my third try at finishing off this painting. So part of my process occasionally, or maybe more than occasionally, is starting a painting, feeling like it's going in a good direction, and then somehow getting off track, so that when I get to a point where I'm close to being done, it's an unsatisfying state. And so a lot of the times what I'll do is just take my painting knife and scrape everything off, all the paint. And what's left behind, and this is two processes worth of paint left behind, but the oil paint leaves a stain on the canvas. This is an oil prime linen panel. It's a really nice surface and I like working on it. It retains some of the pigment even after I scrape the paint off, and that's actually a good thing for paintings that I want to go back and improve, because now there's a base there, there's something to start on. And even if I don't go back to this scene, painting a new painting on top of something old generally tends to come out with a different feeling than starting on a blank canvas. So this is a scene that I was painting from a photograph I took in Taos when I was there last summer. And painting from photographs is challenging in a different way, because for me at least, I find that sometimes I get too attached to the photograph. There's also distortions and lack of color clarity in photographs. So while they're a good starting point, it can be also a problem to be too attached to them. So I have stopped looking at the photograph, and I'm just going to go based on memory and sort of what I have started here. I found that what I was getting hung up on the two times that I tried to paint this painting already, once I got to the point of putting this fence in, I didn't realize it the first time. The second time that I went through, I realized trying to put in this fence is the tipping point of where the painting seems to go wrong for me. So I am going to not have a fence in this painting, and I'm going to use this base here as kind of where I'm starting, except ignoring the fence. And so I think to kind of just knock that out of my vision from the beginning, I am going to start in that section of the painting. So just kind of pulling back in some of that earth that peeks through under these scrubby green plants. And for my colors, I'm using a more selective palette. Usually when I paint plein air, I have a palette that I work with, and sometimes I'll use a modified version of that palette. Well, that's too bright. Sometimes I will take only a few colors. Sometimes if I know I'm going to be out on a location for an extended period of time, I'll take more of a colorist palette with really a lot of colors on hand. But when I'm working in the studio, a lot of times I will limit my palette or selectively choose it based on my subject. So working with this Southwest, this New Mexico scene, the colors down there are different visually than what I'm used to in the Midwest. And so I have a little bit more of an earthy palette here. That's maybe a little cooler than I want, but we'll see. We'll get it on there. I'm also being real gestural with the knife in the way that I'm laying the color down. I think to try and break free of this, whatever it was about this painting that was so frustrating. very frustrating, but being very loose and gestural a lot of the time will help me break through things that aren't working out. There's a little more, I don't know if it's less thought, it's more intuitive. There's less fussiness, and a lot of times the fussiness is what gets me in the wrong spot. So I kind of like that. That feels good. We'll see now when I get in some of that, the sky and the earth, or rather the mountains in the back there. What I really liked about the photo that I had taken was this peak of sunlight, clear sky that was sort of right along the mountain edge, and then there were these big heavy clouds above it. So I kind of want to make sure, I'm going to remind myself about that and make sure that it is not forgotten when I start back in with a more intuitive process here. That's maybe a little green. I wanted it to be a little purple. Let's see. I might throw another different kind of red in here. Maybe not. Let's see what works first with what I got. So the red I have is Venetian red, sort of like a terracotta, very earthy, and so it may not give me the kind of purples I'm looking for in the sky, but maybe it will. It's just a little too brownish. Let's see. What red will I pull in here? Oh, I think maybe quinacridone red will be good. It's more, what is the word? It's more of a modern color, I guess. Not as much of an earth tone, but it's not as sort of candy colored as some of the other modern colors. It won't be too, if I add it with some of the Venetian, I think I'll get to where I would like to be. Still earthy, but a little bit more of those beautiful purples that come up in the clouds here. Let's see how that is. Still maybe a little too purple. So I'm going to add, I have a little bit of white and yellow mixed together here. I'm going to add that to lighten it up and neutralize that purple a little bit. Let's see. I like that color, but I don't really know if that's what I want in the sky. Yeah, I wonder if I was using, I may have been using Payne's Gray. Let's see. Payne's Gray, a bluish cast. So rather than use black, which I rarely use, throw some Payne's Gray in there, and it darkens and neutralizes colors, but it doesn't, it draws it a little cooler. That's nice for mountains. Let's just put that in there. Right, like I got a little, some kind of fur stuck, dog fur probably. It's everywhere. All right, so the mountains are in the shadow there, and then come back into a little bit more of the hazy light where that storm is allowing a little bit of that. Oh, it's still darker than I want. Then in between, I'm going to have a little bit of a transition. Oh, I had some green on that.